Okay, so there's this gyro place not far from my work that I go to occasionally. Um, and there's always like two of these guys there. And then the other day when I had gone, there was this lady who I'd never seen before. But I come in and she instantly goes, "You're so beautiful." Granted, I have a giant ass mask on because and I just like giggle it off, but she doesn't stop. She goes, I can tell because I'm used to wearing the
Burger.
burqa. It is called a burqa, right? And so like, well, thank you. And in ensues what is the most embarrassing and hilarious exchange ever. One of the guys that works there, um, just starts getting super embarrassed. He is just like, "Dear God, go away, go away, go away," because she's just going on. She's like, I need to play a song for you," and she gets out the speaker and she starts playing "Beautiful Girl." I'm just like standing over here laughing. I've already ordered, so I'm just waiting for my food. And she's just like, and the guy's just like, "Go away, stop it, you're embarrassing me." And he's like, "It's fine. Are you married?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Oh, then you still got a chance," turning to the guy. And he's just like, "Dear God," like ducking behind the counter. It is hilarious the entire time. And finally he goes, "Can I get your number?" And she goes, "You don't get to get the work off my hard work."
She's like, you ain't using me as a wingman.
No. So needless to say, I won't be going there for a couple weeks. Because while super flattering was also really embarrassing. But yeah, that was that was my that was
Which
my
song was it? Is
lunch.
it the one that goes, Beautiful Girl?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um Apparently though, I was just zooting some kind of energy that day because as I was coming back from there, I ran into one of the guys at the hospital that been coming to the table that I was manning early in the job.
Mm-hmm.
Um and he finally asked for my number.
Wow. Congratulations, you sexy, sexy thing.
Hi.
And on that note, roll intro. I'm Rebecca,
And I'm Deanna. And we're
the Halfwit Sisters.
so
I'm over. Huh?
uh I'm currently trying to redo the animation for the intro because it needs to be longer to go with the new jingle.
Oh, yes, yes, we have a new jingle. And, on, and, on,
On.
on. Can you see? Do you see your face? Do you see
I
your
see my
face?
face. Hold on. Let me do something on my phone real quick. Like, turn on the do not disturb. So I
Oh,
stop getting text and email notifications. Okay. I'm ready.
I should do that too. Boop, 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 boop. Nope, wait. Oof. Why is that on? And boom! Channel art. Hex yeah.
Oh, that was
Bam,
so
bam,
good.
bam. So, at this point, you have heard our new jingle, and now you have seen our channel art. So, it's official. We're saying we are now super awesome.
Yeah. So when you sent me that first draft,
Which
um,
we'll have an image up for it. We'll have kind of scrolling through. How about that? Huh?
okay. Yeah, I can
Scrolling
do that
through.
right at the bottom.
Yeah, all right.
Um,
The whole, just like everything he kind of sent, and I'll send you. I'll put in our share folder, the process pictures.
Thank you. So when you sent me that first image, I'm not even kidding. I looked at my phone, opened it up, and went. I was so excited.
Yes. So today we're gonna talk about our new jingle and some of the art, how we felt about the art, and then we're gonna go into probably complaining about the last episode we did. And then we're looking at uh, doing a cold read of two scripts that DJ has written since the last episode. Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a cold read of that and maybe a couple other things that whatever because you know how we do. Like we tend to
we have
go
a
on
script now, but
we
we also tend to go off on tangents.
Yeah, we do have a few. I also noticed. Okay, so side note, I also noticed that you and I have a tendency to like touch our noses a little. like it's such a subconscious thing, but I also think it's like a nervous tick of ours that we keep touching our noses. Because I noticed this a second ago because I was like, because I just did it and then immediately I brushed my hair.
As I'm sitting here brushing my hair and nose, I'm like, you made me conscious of it.
Yeah. So, what this will be our fourth or fifth episode that we've done, and at this point, I've noticed that we've one episode that I was watching back, I noticed a lot of our verbal tics. One episode, I was saying right. So we're learning, and it's a whole process, and we'll evolve as we go along. But at the same time, it's really interesting to look back at these episodes and kind of notice things that we do subconsciously. And I think even the last episode, there was the moment where it looked like I just like went for the pick my nose. I didn't pick my nose, but it looked like I did.
Whoops.
I was just like, and I was so we can. So first, let's talk about how we felt about the whole. Let me do. I'm rearranging the script as we're doing the whole thing, so that I have a conscious idea of like how we're doing it. So let's first really talk about the channel art. Like we said, we're having at the bottom just kind of the scrolling process of the evolution. So I reached out to Joel, who did the book cover for my Project Khalid episode 1, shameless plug, and he did a really great job of just kind of really digging in and figuring out how to symbolically show the Halfwit Sisters. So if you take a moment to just look at the final piece, which you'll see here, it's a brain. And it's so great how he just kind of pulled it all together for us. And at one point, I think our biggest complaint was that I just looked ancient. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was like, oh no, one of my the wife was like, the wife. I showed the art, right? And the husband was like, oh, it looks really, really good. But the husband's colorblind. I lived with a married couple, right? The husband's colorblind, so he sees neither of those shades. So he's just like, the art looks really good. But the wife, she was like, ew. Right off the bat. The moment she saw it, she was like, ew. And I was like, what's the matter? She's like, I don't like those colors at all. Why don't you like those colors? And she's like, I don't know. I just don't like the colors. I was like, well, that tells me nothing. But do you like the art? And she's like, yeah, I like the art. I was like, oh, that's all that matters. Because
Yeah.
I like the colors.
So when you first told me about the colors, you're like, so Joel decided on these two colors, and I'm purple. And I was like, well, orange really isn't my color, but okay.
Yep. Yeah.
And it definitely turned out a lot better than I had.
Oop, your sound dropped out.
Sure, it stays plugged in. So, it
Still dropped out.
Is it just because I'm too far?
No, it was fine a moment ago. Check the connection to the computer. So what were we talking about? Oh, the channel art. Okay. So we looked at it, the symbolic stuff. If you look at it, looks like a brain. And then it has like subtle signs of like yin yang to it too. And then on the other side of that, while that was going on and being developed, we also have the jingle that was being made by Shae, who was the guy who did my audiobook, shameless plug. And that was 17 seconds, really. And then he also went and did a whole bunch of interludes, so I guess you'll hear those like every time we make a noticeable change into a different topic.
Yeah.
That we're aware of, not just like one of our random tangents.
If I catch the tangent starting in editing, then I'll probably try to put the interlude in. But if I don't, then yeah, it won't be there.
So
Like a noticeable tangent that I would have put in was you defending that book.
Look. Whatever.
Oh, so I don't know if it got picked up on the last one. Yeah, so I was saying that I wasn't sure about the color scheme.
Right.
Orange not being my color, but when it came to it, I saw it for the first time. I was like, yeah, no, actually that works. I'm not mad about that.
Right. He picked two complementing colors. Joel picked two complementing colors, which were really right. And purple is kind of like a very streamer color anyways, for people who are very familiar with like Let's Plays and streamers on Twitch. It's a very common color you'll see out there. So I wasn't upset with it. And I was looking at, and I'll put a link in the description below. Oh, I think I forgot to put a, oh, whatever. Anyways, I'll put a link in the description below. But in video games, since you and I play a lot of video games, the colors are used for very specific things. Like red often denotes health. Green is like potions and things you can pick up in the world, right?
Magic.
Then you have, huh?
Magic is blue.
Magic is blue, right? Oh, did I send you that video?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I did send you that video. So the video that, if I can remember what it was called, but it was talking about how purple is used to denote corruption. And I'm not saying in any sort of way like I'm corruption and evil, but I do tend to write darker stuff. So I was like, oh, this actually fits really well. So I'll put that down in the description below for anybody that's really interesting to see how it's used. I'm playing a game right now called Spiritfarer, and there are pockets in this world where you have to fight. You don't fight, there's not really any combat, but where you go into essentially corrupt areas of this world, and it's purple. And I was like, all right, yeah, see, they do use purple to show corruption, so it's really interesting. Good job.
I mean, I got nothing to add to that. I don't know why he picked the colors. I like the colors. It worked out. But yeah, no, he definitely, it definitely was one of those things. Like the first draft, I liked. I was like, great direction. And we got that final draft, which fixed the problem of you looking really old. And I'm sitting there looking at it. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is great. I like that the brain is purple on my side and orange on your side. You have the little tufts of stuff on the other side to pull the colors, so it's not just like orange and purple.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The kind of like some yin and yang to it.
Yeah. Then, yeah.
So that's a channel art, and this is the jingle that Shae made. And DJ, since you sat for like 5 minutes just replaying the 17-second clip.
So he sent it to me, and I'm not lying. I was at work, and on some of the days I get to sit in an office and wait for the phone to ring, so I have liberty to do other work if I need to. So I had my headphones on, and I just, by myself in this office, I hit play, and I'm just like, and then it stops, and I'm like, wait, no. For 5 minutes, my cheeks were hurting, and I was just so happy. And yeah, I messaged him back. I was like, well, my cheeks officially hurt, but I love it. And he sent us a couple more options that fiddled with some of like the sounds until we settled on that last one that is here. Yeah. It's in the intro, and yeah, it's the 17 seconds is definitely longer than our intro that we have been using, so I get to go through and go on PowerPoint and make a longer intro.
Sorry.
Apparently Becca loves that. I'm so glad that my very poor animation skills make you react in love.
Just a little thing just up, and I was like, what the heck is this thing? It isn't going down. So I clicked to make it go down, and it reacted instead. You know what? Whatever.
It's okay. I'm pretty sure it's before we were recording, I had the same thing, so I did the same thing, and then realized I could have just clicked off to the side and it would have taken it away.
Okay. Anyways, yes. Continue with your story.
But yeah, so I get to take the long process of doing this animation in Photoshop, because that's the only way I know how to animate, because again, I'm not learning how to animate for this one intro. I love you, Becca. I'm not doing it.
I'm not telling you to do anything. You could have just had like a rolling ball for all I care. I don't.
Yeah, well, I decided to animate via PowerPoint, and so that's what I'm doing. And the intro that we had used for the previous episodes were 100 slides long.
Damn.
And the jingle is twice as long as the original intro, so I have to make 200 slides.
What editing tool are you using?
As in, like, my video?
Yeah.
It's called Coral Video Studio.
You can't do visual graphics with that?
You know, I might be able to if I knew
'Cause,
how.
yeah, I would find a tutorial to do some visual graphics, and then you can just do a small graphic through there.
Yeah. We'll see.
Save you some headache of having to do over 100 things. Um,
That will be the task that I work on later in the week.
yeah.
I have a lot that I have to do after we get done here because I got called into work yesterday when I thought it was a day off.
Mm.
So everything that I had to do yesterday, I also had to do today, plus all the stuff that I had to do today.
Mhm. Mhm.
So,
Okay.
times.
So we have revealed the new stuff
Right to
for
the jingle.
our the Halfwit Sisters, which the Shae thought I had said dimwit.
He sent us the files and they're all named Dimwit. I
Yeah.
messaged you and I was like, you know, he put Dimwit, which honestly just
I
it's on
thought he was
brand for
just
this.
making a play on our names. That's it.
Yeah, he didn't realize until he started watching one of the episodes, and he messaged us and is like, I just
Don't.
realized it's Halfwit.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Don't stop. Leave me alone.
I find it just kind of on brand for the thought of the channel.
Ah! Stop. Stop. Don't me. Sorry. Having a stare down with Jigsaw. She's just nipping at my foot. But it's not like a soft nip. It's like I'm gonna bite your foot off. Can you hear the thumps?
No.
Okay. That's a good thing. She's just pouncing on thin air. And she'll do that for a bit, and then she'll come back over to me and start nipping on my foot. Okay. You were saying. While I have a stare down with my cat, you were saying.
Nothing. I was trying to fill space while you played with your cat.
I'm not playing with my cat. Staring her down. Okay, anyways. So, yes,
So
that's
yeah,
the
so that's
stuff.
the new channel art and jingle, and I'm super happy that we went with two people you knew over two random people on Fiverr.
Right. I mean, it's not that, like, it's not like they wouldn't have done a good job, the people on Fiverr. I just feel way more comfortable working with people that I've already have vetted and worked
Yeah.
with in the past, right? Like, that's... And they gave us some good deals, and that was great. So...
Yeah. Well, it's
And they're
also
mm-hmm.
you have you know their work. So one, yes, you know what they can do and all of that, but also with like the Fiverr, it's like you're done once. If you need to go back for something or you want to ask them for more, it's just like kind of awkward, like finding them, and like with your friends, it's just like, hey, can you also do this? And so
Right. So I feel good where we're at now. Like it once I saw the final version of our channel art and heard the final version of the jingle, it was like it felt like we had solidified the Halfwit Sisters.
yeah.
And that was very important. And we picked what our font would be. Right. So we did a whole bunch of things in the process of this. Like we also branded ourselves. And I think the only thing that we're really missing is just an icon. And what I mean by an icon is like our logo. And the only reason why we don't have the logo is because that's not what Joel does. Right? He's not a marketer. He doesn't do brand. He just does art. And so that's why that's not something I would have hired him to do. So this is great. And if I want us to have a logo later on, then I would definitely go and find somebody that does branding to do that part for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about that. Now, here's the jingle. It would be funny if it was like, if like all those, watch those hand movements be like entirely like offbeat with, with the jingles. And it's like,
you're over here dancing to the beat of your own drum. It's okay.
So now we get to complain about the last episode where our brains broke.
I hadn't eaten before we started recording.
Well, to be honest, we recorded that episode twice.
Yes, we did.
The first time was worse than the second time.
That first time.
Do you want to talk about, like... we're talking about how we got our first bit of feedback, which was just like, you know, receiving feedback from our mom, which is great. You know, she has some valid criticism sometimes.
Oh, I talked to her the other day too. She's literally only watched the first episode.
Yeah. and like we tend to go on tangents and when we and when we talk about tangents, like that episode, like that was nothing but tangents, and we're like, okay, let's record again because we were so all over the place. We have no idea what the hell we were talking about.
Just we were saying things, and they were making sense to us.
Mm-hmm.
But whether they made sense to y'all, I don't know. Hopefully you left comments.
So we decided to record it again after having already cleared out our heads and having a clearer picture of what we're going to talk about. And then, like, midway through, it's like DJ powered down. like,
Oh my,
like Windows doo-doo powered down. And then for like me, I was embarrassed. Oh my gosh. I've never had to really talk about writing story. Like yeah, I've had to talk about I can talk to anybody about why a movie does this, or talk about a stereotype or a cliche or things that drive a plot, right? Like I can do bits and pieces, but I've never had to really sit down and vocalize like how to build worlds and stuff like that. And so when we were in our last episode, I was trying to explain like 3 things about world building, and I completely botched it. And I was so embarrassed. Oh my god. I messed it up so bad, and I was thinking about it all day. All day. I was so upset on how I botched it. But it was just like, and I have never had to like really sit down and explain how to write story. It's one of the things I want to do. Like, I want to do a workshop on how to tell stories, and help people like tell stories and then self-publish, which is why my girlfriend got me this.
How to design tech and workshops that work every time.
Yes. So I want to teach a workshop on telling and publishing and marketing
Stories.
on how to be an indie author, essentially. But that episode is not a great reflection on any ability to do that.
No.
And as we got further towards the end of that episode, like, the less you were responding to anything.
And here's the thing, like, I didn't really know why. All I knew was I had nothing to say. I could not think of anything to say. And I'm just like,
Doo-doo. Doo-doo. And that was starting to frustrate me so much because I was just like, help me! Say something!
I am helping.
And then afterwards, you're like, I don't know. I was like, have you eaten? You want food? It's like, that's a concept, isn't it? Go put something in your stomach.
Yeah. Which is why I made sure to eat some rice cakes before we started today. And get my water, because hydration. But yeah, no, last episode, not the worst we've ever done, but the worst we've done when we know what we're trying to talk about.
Right, and we had some valid things that we were trying to get through, like costume design,
which
and
is still evolving because we decided on our world.
Right, yes. And even there, I'm still like trying to get a decision. So we were talking about whether or not to go with like Christopher Nolan style superhero world or like a Marvel-esque superhero world style, right? And when we're saying that, we're like, well, what part of Marvel? And it's like, do you go with the Thor route where Thor the Thor and Captain Marvel route, or do you go with kind of the Iron Man route, right? So even there, and then the husband had floated the idea of doing Bond, and Bond is really interesting because those throughout the history of Bond, there has always been like, yes, they have a lot of henchmen. All of the villains have a lot of henchmen, and the plots have varied in different ways. Especially the current Bond. What's the actor's name?
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig. The current Bond, like, it's not so much world destroying as it has been like Skyfall. Do you remember that one? Did you ever see that one?
I haven't really seen many of the newer ones.
Right. I think Skyfall was perhaps my favorite only because of the villain in that one. And you were saying, well, if we had to go with the Bond style, then your character's outfit wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And I was like,
because when I think Bond, I think more of a sophisticated villain, and not that like suit and tie type sophistication, but like not as coupled together as Belladonna's is right now. So it just needs to be more streamlined.
So when you were saying that, I was thinking, well, there's also the Kim Possible route, which we have mentioned before. And that's still doable because Kim Possible's world has a little bit of the Bond in it with a bit of Shigo, right? And so Shigo's outfit is still kind of over the top. So really that kind of world building can work as well.
Yeah. And what we mean by Bond or Marvel-esque or DC and Christopher Nolan isn't like fan put my character in that world, but
Right.
build a world in that same genre. So with the Bond, it's more of the secret agent, evil organization, but rooted in actuality. And with the Marvel-esque, it's super powered. And with Christopher Nolan, it's super powered, but still very rooted in what a normal person would do.
So the thing that really made Christopher Nolan's Batman stand out is that it was realistic, in where none of the bad guys had any kind of superpower to it. That it could very well exist in our world, kind of thing. And that's why it was like there wasn't a Superman in Christopher Nolan, because it didn't fit his style, his world building at all. Yeah. Right? Because it was rooted in reality. Versus Zack Snyder's whole thing, which very much had Superman and the Batman in there, because it was much more fantastical and had that kind of world building of superpowers to go in there. So when we're talking about it, we're deciding whether or not to base it in reality with bits of reality, or to give it a more fantastical build to it, right? With going with Bond has an interesting style of being both, depending on where you're at, both based in reality, but also with just enough fantastical elements in it that you can have some fun.
Like a hat that's a razor sharp edge.
Yeah, but also when we're looking at it, a friend of ours had also mentioned Austin Power, right? Which is more of a parody on the whole action spy, or going with Fast and the Furious, which is again a whole bit of world building that, especially if you watch the latest, I was about to say Calvin and Hobbes, but that's not what it was. Hobbes is in the name. What was Rock's?
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw. Okay, yeah. So Hobbs and Shaw, which they really delved into some sci-fi elements, with the main villain dude being cybernetic. So those are kind of the ideas when we're talking about, well, what kind of world do we want to go with? These are the kind of worlds that already exist, and how we would implement our style, or implement those into our own.
Basically, take that kind of same framework,
yes,
but not in that, not putting them in that universe, because it's not like a fan; it's our own universe.
We're not writing fan fiction over here. And now that I've said it, probably the Hobbs and Shaw thing is probably what we're actually going for.
Yeah.
The G.I. Joe also, like, those are the things, fantastical, sci-fi enough that your outfit would still fit within those worlds.
Yeah. It still will change slightly with now that we know the world. And I think it's just because it feels a little clunky right now. Because it was missing something without the fishnet arm stuff, but with it makes it a very busy, with like the cuff and the bracelets, the armbands. It makes it very clunky. So I'm like, let me take it back some and find a way to streamline the design to make sense, with still elevating it from the henchman, which is a great, I love the design, and I don't think that needs anything else, but to make that transition, because she does, I don't feel like she would go from this super sexualized outfit to this kind of...
You're fine.
Roommate. To this, not quite grungy, because it doesn't quite hit that mark. I think if it did hit grunge better, it'd be fine. But it just, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm ruminating. I'm trying to decide. But I also have another project that I'm doing tomorrow that took a little bit of my focus this week. So. Can you hear
You're
her?
welcome.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm
Remember.
super excited that we're establishing the framework of the world that we're building. It makes writing characters easier, writing scripts easier, knowing where I can go and where it doesn't make sense to go.
All right. And it also gives us the ability to really start honing in on what kind of heroes we're going to start designing now as well.
Yeah, because we do need to write a couple, because not only just for the choose your own adventure, we also need to write, because I have one of the scripts that I wrote this week involves the hero. And so it's like I have a placeholder name of Hollow. It's in like a hollow out thing. But like that's all we need a name for him. We need,
Yeah. So we were talking about this a little bit before we started episode 2. I was mentioning how one of the characters that I was making, and this is another thing about character design, because I was talking about this last time really badly, but part of character design is you also have things you need to know, you don't need to know, and things you can trickle out. And so one of the things that you can trickle out is the sexuality of the character, and their a thing that you do need to know is kind of the character's identity, right? How they see themselves. So I had mentioned that there's a character that is gender fluid, and one of a name that I often use as a placeholder is Jill. So Jill is definitely going to be one that I kind of like think about more and so change out. I forgot where I was going with this. But oh yes. So we often use placeholders name. That's what I was going towards. So we often use placeholder names a lot for things. So Hollow is one of the placeholder names you have been using for this hero. Jill's one. I sometimes use Sam as one. Like so a lot of times if you see Jill's, like a lot of Jill popping up, a lot of Sam, Tom, Bob, like really simple names. You're like, all right, so these are either female or male characters. If I don't have a good name for them, I'll be using their names instead. instead.
Yeah.
So definitely gonna be changing Jill's name here in a bit. And I wanted to do, and the other reason, because it throws the idea that one of the scripts I had for Jill out the window if we weren't going with the superpowered one, because I wanted one of the scripts to be, and I'll just talk about the ideas since I can't use it anymore. But for Jill to have some kind of like pyrotechnic abilities, and them, that's it, them, gets constantly by Delta, who I said was somebody that constantly picks on everybody and purposely misgenders Jill constantly. And so Jill is complaining to Belladonna about Delta one day, and Belladonna is like trying to keep Jill calm because Jill keeps getting upset and accidentally like burns down the accounting department.
No, we could still use that. Matches and lighters.
Okay. I think that's possible. Yeah. So
It's just sitting there going with the match the entire time.
yeah, I don't know. I'll have to play around with that idea a little bit more if we do, but like, um. Belladonna's like, hey, you know what happened last time? You don't want to trip the fire depression or fire system, right? Suppression system. And like Jill's like, if they say one more time that I'm a he or I'm a she, and don't call me them or they or what I am, right? Like, how hard is it? And then like accidentally does something that sets off the fire suppression, and Belladonna is like, well, yep, that there goes this month's paycheck, right? Like something like
There goes
that.
this month's bonus.
Yeah. Something like that. That kind of is fun. Um. So that was something that I was thinking of.
Yeah. No, I think we could still use it. It just be reworked as her as being a instead of like pyrokinetic pyromaniac.
Yeah. Well, Jill's
Or
supposed to be
they
working in accounting.
instead of they being a pyro.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the reason why I wanted to write Jill as gender fluid is because one, I just wanted to have a character like that. And I thought it would be it's terrible to say, I guess, for something, but one, I want to represent like different kinds of characters or people in my stuff, right? Because one, I'm a lesbian, so I like to, and I've always want to see, somebody that's like me in media, and I never really do. So when I write, I've always want to try and represent a lot of LGBT
Yeah.
plus, LGBT plus the whole alphabet in my stuff. So whenever I have an opportunity, I try to. And that's why I think I'm really trying to like get somebody that's gender fluid in there as well as So I'm not saying that I'm doing it just because I want to have others represented in there as well.
Yeah. And it's super important to do that and to write it not just correctly, but in a way that makes sense. Because there's tons of media where they change a character from being heterosexual to part of the LGBT community, and they just do the story and the character poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They do it as a way to appease the fans too.
yeah. They're just like, we're going to do this for inclusivity. And it's like, you're not, though, because if you were, you would do a better job of it.
Yeah.
You're just throwing it in there.
Yeah.
I think my biggest gripe on that was Kara's sister in Supergirl. I hated her coming out story. It was forced. It was poorly written. Now it's like, it's just like, it's a thing. It's nothing. It's great. They've settled into the writing for her character, and it's great. But her whole coming out story was, I don't know if my alien sister who was adopted is gonna approve of me. Your alien sister who has always approved of everything you've done? Your alien sister who has superpowers?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
loved you. I just like the way they wrote it.
I'd have to watch through this again, but I feel like one of mine was Korra, The Legend of Korra.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to watch through it because I didn't feel like they really did a good job with Korra. People are like, oh, they proved like that she's bi with some of like her clothing decisions and things like that. But towards the end, they really didn't have a great build up to like her and Asami being interested in each other. And not that I felt, but I'd have to watch back through the entire series. And I'm not even gonna lie, I did not enjoy The Legend of Korra.
I didn't
That's
enjoy it from the
blasphemy, apparently.
first. I didn't like it from the first episode. I didn't want the next Avatar. I wanted more adventures with the gang.
Right. Well, and that was a lot of people. For a lot of people, this is an entire tangent, but I'll go into it just real quick. There are some things that were great about Korra, but there are a lot of things that I didn't like about Korra. One of the things that somebody pointed out is that Korra is going through like gifted kid burnout, which I can see, right? Because everything came easy to her, right? All the other bending abilities came easy to her, but then airbending didn't. And then she gets frustrated about that. That's great. What I did not enjoy was her relationship with Mako, right? Absolutely did not enjoy it one bit. I thought it was really boring and contrived. I think that they that they could, if they were going to do a teenage romance story, that they could have done a more interesting job with it. It just felt like another teen romance, and that was really boring. Right? And then they had him, then they fell back on the whole trope of I have two girls and I don't know who I want to be with for him, and I thought that was really stupid, and I freaking hated that. Absolutely, for a series that was so freaking progressive, to fall back on a trope like that was absolutely disrespectful, and I couldn't stand it. So that was the reason why I refused to like, not refuse, but I could not like Korra, because I could not stand the teen romance for a series that was so progressive. To fall back onto some really contrived tropes was absolutely stupid.
And the original Avatar: The Last Airbender is such a beautiful representation of world building and character development. You have and learning and wisdom. Like, you can watch it today as an adult and still learn stuff from it.
Mm-hmm.
For it to go into what Legend of Korra was, I don't think it was as fleshed out in where these characters should go, and they relied on stereotypes.
So yeah, there's a lot of great things that they did with Korra. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like they didn't do it a lot of good justice, in my opinion. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Oh well, if you disagree with me, put it down in the comments section. I'm willing to go toe to toe with you. Tell me why Korra is such a great series. Go for it. I'll even watch it again if you want, but you have to tell me why I should watch it again. Put it down in the comments section. Really. So. But from what I remember of Korra, it was hammed when they decided to make her gay with Asami. Like, it was bull crappy. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Anyways, so that was when we talk about series that are like, that just decided to like, well, let's make our character LGBT. Like, Korra's the one that makes me the most upset when it comes to it. Right? And even at the very end, when they were having Asami and her like go off into the spirit world, at the end they had her and Asami turn and face each other and hold hands, right? And they did that in the same way that Katara and Aang held, but Katara and Aang kissed. And that even the creator said, hey, we really should have just gone with it and had them kiss. Like Aang and Katara did. So whatever.
Anyway, back onto track.
Right.
So it's super important to write these characters and do them justice, and not just do it for doing its sake.
Right. Right.
because that's not fair to that community. When they want representation, they don't just want it shoehorned in. They want you. Speaking of myself, I would want the characters to be well written and given the same consideration and thought in the writing room as the other your straight characters.
Right.
Not just I'm gay.
Right. So, okay. So speaking of like some of our favorite TikToks, I guess we can. This is kind of like I guess we'll kind of bounce back and forth. Have you seen the lady that's sitting in front of like those really old timey like 1990s computers, like old Apple computers, and she's clacking away and she's doing videos for like some LGBT people. Have you seen her? She's got like these glasses and she's just
she like a secretary?
Yeah.
Like a school or a school receptionist?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I saw one where it was like a kid, this person like stuffs up and they're doing a duet and the person's like, "Excuse me," and the lady's like, "Oh, hello." Right? She's got that really like annoying, like almost New Yorkers kind of voice. "Hello, oh, how you doing? Oh my gosh, what do you mean there's no gender fluid bathroom? Oh my god, let me take care of that right now." She just goes through the whole thing, and it was so perfectly done with this kid who was just like, "Excuse me, there's no gender bathroom." Like, oh my god, that was so good. Yeah, that's like one of my faves.
Yeah, and she has another one where I haven't seen a duet of it. I just seen her side of it, where she's like, "Oh, you want to change your pronouns in the system? Let me just do that right now."
Yes. And this is nothing to do with LGBT, but one of my all-time favorite TikToks is this guy. It's got a little thing going on. It's like how much percentage of this you are, and the dude's going da 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 da, kiss kiss da da da, and then he goes, meh, and his nose extends out, and it goes like 100%. And it says when he goes, "No way, LL Ama. What the hell is an LL Ama? Oh, bitch, llama."
Oh my god.
I go back and watch that video a lot because it makes me laugh every single time.
Have you seen the duck war going on?
The duck war?
So it's like these three creators, and like two of them is like they're building crowns and swords.
Yes, I think I've seen, yeah.
And they're just like, "You thought that was good? Look at my domain." And it's just like the thing filled with the ducks. Every time it comes across my feed, I'm like, "Dear God, what have you done?"
That feels like it's a reminiscent of this guy. Oh, shoot. He's been on Conan, and I forgot his name.
Oh, does he respond to spam comment? To spam
Yes.
emails? That guy? Yes, I've seen that. And he is like, his rumors like,
name?
"We need to talk about the ducks."
Yes, but what's his name?
Oh, it's like, it starts with a V. Oh, we're gonna sit here and look it up.
I'm doing that right now. James. You weren't even close, DJ. James Vitch.
It starts with a V, his last name.
Oh. James Vitch. I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Yes.
Yes, but he did a whole thing with his roommates about the ducks. Oh.
Yeah. I like watching some of his old videos because just like, I don't know, I like the slideshow humor sometimes because there's some on TikTok that will come across my feed of like this guy doing the slideshow. It's like, this is nerds, geeks, stalkers. I don't know. There's a lot of them, and I'm highly amused by them.
So, should we do the cold reads now?
Sure. Let me pull them up.
So one of the things we thought we'd do today on this episode is cold reads.
Are we doing the ones I wrote, or
we can do one you wrote and one I wrote if you want.
Okay.
So running late. Running late is the one that I wrote that we can do. Okay. Which one of yours would you like to do?
We can do Hollow's Escape.
Okay. Which one do you want to do first?
Well, I have to find the folder. Hold on.
I have both cats in here, and I don't know why. But one's protecting my foot, so I'm okay with this.
Okay. You want to do Running Late?
Yeah. "71820. I see you didn't call in that you'd be late.
You remember that EMP yesterday? Sort of fried my...
And I see you're out of uniform.
I have my mask.
Late, out of uniform, and talking back. That's 3 citations, Donna.
It's Bella.
Keep it up, and you'll be transferred to Sewer Patrol."
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I was like, how many lines does Hollow have? I saw 1. That's it.
There's a couple.
Okay. So, this is the catwalk one?
Yeah. Okay. So the one right before this is also the catwalk. So the way I did the 4 scripts that I wrote is one is a reaction to kind of the one that came before it. So you'll have to read it later, but... Ready?
Okay, so all 4 of them kind of...
The first one leads into the second one. The third one leads into the fourth one. Okay.
So, Belladonna's playing with her phone, foot stuck in the catwalk. She hears something. Alright.
Hollow, aren't you supposed to be in a cage or a vat of acid?
Are you supposed to be listening to your boss monologue over his great plan?
My foot's stuck.
Sorry?
Are you continuing your escape or just standing there?
You're not raising the alarm.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, come on!
Oh, Hollow, okay. Hollow hits the phone out of her hand as he runs away.
Oh, come on! I'm gonna be stuck here for hours with no entertainment.
Alright, I get it. That's a good one.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, I like the direction where this is going, yeah.
So, yeah. I thought that was fun.
Yeah. This works out great.
Which it proves an interesting dilemma for me, because these are TikTok videos that we're writing for, on how do I film a video by myself when there's 2 people, because this one actually has interaction. So
do like a bar. Looking thing is like having a bar of soap, and then like squeeze it. Okay, awesome. I like where this is going. Yeah, you're a lot. You write comedy a lot easier than I do.
Yeah. Comedy's fun sometimes.
I tend to write darker things, so it's a little bit harder for me to get into that mindset.
Yeah. There is one monologue that I want to send you so you can give your opinion on before I record it. That is darker. That I writ I've written it.
Okay.
And I also need to send you the draft that I have of the body neutrality stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not as worried about those right now because we are severely behind on our timetable for this project. So we need to brainstorm on more of these TikTok videos so that we can start the CYA writing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, all right. So that's what I have to do. I just gotta get the rest of the stuff done. Um, Talking about other videos we should do. Well, you know what? So we talk like one of the things we do struggle with. So I guess this is a small little segue into like future Halfwit videos. One of the things we do struggle with is kind of like what are we going to be talking on the next episode about?
Yeah, because even this one was interesting.
Yeah. I think what would be kind of cool for us to do is talk about things that like we did with our world building, like talking about the frameworks we're using. Um, One of the things that would be cool for us to do is talk about stuff that kind of inspire us and pull and just talk about one or two things that we use as our inspiration for whatever it is we're working on, right? So doing a small deep dive into uh like why Hobbes and Shaw is the framework we're using for the world building we're deciding on, or some anime that is informing some of the way we do our character designs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
It would also help if our audience wants to leave any comments down below.
I know, right?
Questions.
Help a sister out.
But no, but seriously, if you have anything you want to comment or question or let us know, we will answer them in our video. I guess.
We'll have a special section just for that.
But
What's in the
it
comment
definitely would help
section?
us. Um, because while we are working on this, and this is definitely an insight into our creative processes on how we built or recorded what we've done. Because we can have an episode where you talk about Project Lead. I can have an episode where I talked about Diacat or the holiday sorts that I did, and I mean, my half of that episode would be very short because it's just like I just had an idea and I did it. But like, it would help us if you comment down below and have any questions about why we did something a certain way.
Yeah.
Especially if you didn't understand it the way we previously said it, for clarification.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Chobits. I looked over, I was like, oh, I haven't seen that manga in ages. Chobits. Yes, that would definitely help. And we'd be happy to make a section in our podcast just for comments. Just to highlight comments and questions. That would be fun to do. So please, down below the description, there's a place where you could put words
to make sentences.
And if you put a question mark at the end, it creates a question.
But like, subscribe, hit the bell icon
to get that notification.
And we'll see you next week.
For sure.
Okay. Bye.